the break that we've had from school is unlike any other break that we've ever experienced. It's not like when we've gone home for holidays, when we've had special events, things like that. This was unexpected and sudden due to a global pandemic, and it's really hard to make sense of that. So having some anxiety is really normal. All of us need some anxiety to keep us safe, to keep us on our toes. So think about last time you went for a walk in your neighborhood. You might know that your neighbor has a dog that's not very friendly. And so that's an example of where you might need your anxiety to keep you safe. You might take your child and cross the street rather than walking close to that dog. And in this situation, dealing with COVID-19, making sure you stay healthy, that's no different. For kids with special needs, and so for those of you who have a child with autism, a developmental disability, or a learning disability, it can be really tough because you want to know that your child is going to be safe when he or she goes to school, and your child could be expressing a lot of anxiety. So how do you address that? How do you know when there's too much anxiety? So keeping in mind that some anxiety is helpful, but if it interferes with your ability to do the things that you need to do, then you really want to work with your child to help him or her understand that anxiety is positive, it can be helpful, and that you can tame that, you can be brave and do the things that you need to do. So we often think about anxiety affecting how we think, how we feel, and how we behave or how we act, how it affects our actions. So if your child has a lot of worried thoughts, I can't do this because I'm afraid, I can't do this because I'll get sick, answer their questions. In terms of helping your child deal with anxious feelings or body sensations, first of all, it's really important to make sure that everyone's well rested, that you're getting enough sleep, you've got routines, and that you yourself as a parent you're looking after yourself as well, and you're able to stay calm. And then perhaps teaching some strategies like deep breathing, just helping them learn how to belly breathe. There's a great Sesame Street video, belly breathing with Elmo. If you Google that, that's really fun for kids. So you could even show them a picture of a body, just even a gingerbread person or something, or a doll, and ask them where it hurts, or tell them, when I feel anxious, my stomach's upset, or I have a headache, or I feel really tired. So getting your kids used to understanding how their body feels in response to different situations is important. Another strategy that we often use, in addition to having kids identify where anxiety affects them, is thinking about helping them rate their anxiety. And that's a really great way for you as a parent to know how anxious they are, and will help them to learn how they can lower their feeling temperature. So for some kids, you could use a scale from 1 to 5, where 1 is feeling very comfortable and happy, and 5 is very anxious. Or for older kids, a scale of 1 to 10 works. You could say, where are you now? So if your child says, I'm a 3 or a 4, you practice some deep breathing, or you go for a walk and you say, how anxious are you now? And oftentimes, kids will say, well, I'm a 2 or a 3. And that's a concrete example of a strategy that they can use, and they experience that works. But even things like exercise, for teenagers, listening to music, going for a walk, some kids like to take showers. So figure out with your child what helps them be calm, set up the environment to begin with, but then teach them how they can do that, and do that with them. Then lastly, the actions. So this is where we kind of try and put it together, and that's where the routines are really important, and practice. So we know that one of the best ways to conquer your fears is to do the thing that scares you. So if you're worried about getting close to your neighbor's dog, then work with your neighbor to gradually introduce yourself to your neighbor's dog. And the same thing goes with getting back into routine and going to school. So walking to the school, walking past the school, even routines such as going to the grocery store with your child will help them to see that when they leave the house and when they do those new routines that will help keep them safe, such as the distancing, things that public health has recommended, they're going to be just fine. And when your child does do those things that are tough, give them lots of praise, because remember, it takes lots of energy to be brave. So when your child is brave, even if you don't get all the way through the practice, give them lots of rewards. So if you're practicing walking around the neighborhood, you might want to stop for ice cream, right? Because you're building in that reinforcement and something that's pleasant for them. So remember, anxiety is normal. It happens to all of us, and it happens for the reason that it helps us stay well. And so we don't want to discourage anxiety. We want to help our kids understand anxiety. Anxiety affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. And so the more you understand about how it's impacting your child, the more that you can talk to your child about that. You're going to increase their chances of success. You're going to help them feel better, more confident when they get to school. And that will help all of us get back into that routine that we're all looking forward to.